I can see it. Yeah, I can see it too. I'm looking right up. Yeah, well, I just feel like you can't be 100% sure because you're not looking in the water with me, so I'll just double check for you. Yeah, it's definitely down there. See, if you looked in the water with me, you'd be able to see it. Well, I see it just fine, so look. I'm telling you, man, I'm looking right at it. Yeah, every time you do that, you actually make it harder for me to see because you keep shaking. Right there, dude. You keep shaking the water around it. I don't know, dude. I think I'm just gonna have to deep dive for it. Maybe seal this. Okay, well, you're a dog, not a seal. So. I'm going for it. Here we go. No. Not even close. No. Come on, you're getting all wet. Wow, yeah, that's at least like 3,049 or number. 2 clicks or something down there. No, just let me think of a better plan. Okay? Tell mom and dad I'm a good boy. I'm going to wait. Hold on. Saw a few sharks. Had to get out of there. Definitely no sharks. Come on, I think if we both go down at the same time, we'll be able to get it. Okay, yeah, no, that sounds like a terrible plan, and I'm not going to do that. Seriously, I had it in my mouth. I was so close. You at no point had that in your mouth. I saw the whole thing. You weren't even close. I had to drop it. There was like 70 sharks. Yeah, there's literally no sharks, so.
I got the introduction.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hello, and welcome to Sunset Rants, where we give you the news, rants, and deep dives to get you caught up at sunset. I'm AK, your favorite guy, filling in for Valley tonight. We got Biddy in the house. How you doing?
Hey, what's up? How cute was that freaking video? I said, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to. It's so cute. He goes, well, you're not a seal, so yeah.
He's like, I saw like 7 sharks. There's literally no sharks.
It's so freaking cute. It never occurred to me that it'd be hard for a doggy to get down there to get his ball. Like, so adorable. But I love those voiceovers. It's so great. But yeah, happy Monday to everybody. I'm your host, Biddy. Man, you know, we always say it, but we got through that Monday. Mondays are always hard after a long weekend. So, and we got a lot of stories for you today. We're starting off with a not so great story, actually.
Yeah. But before we get into the sad news, let's go to the happy news by going to riseofmiddleamerica.com and check out our lineup of podcasts from history to news, pop culture, true crime. We got something for everyone. You want to join the team? Join the Roman Nation Discord up at the right-hand corner here. We fixed the link. The link is fixed now.
Nice.
So you can jump right here, right there. That one. Actually, no, you can't see it because the stupid thing's in the way. Hold on. Give me a second. Boom. There we go. All right. Right there. And that's where you can get to the Discord.
Nice.
Let's see. What else we got here? If you go down to the bottom of the page, if you want to show your support, we got the Roman Nation Network merch. We got a couple of nice new shirts we got here. We got your Weaponize Your Autism shirt. I freaking love it.
I love that. I love the colors.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we also got that in women's as well.
Love that.
Yes.
Perfect time. It's like freaking hot out there. So, you know.
And of course, our favorite word that we like to use here, allegedly.
It had to be. funny. We use it
We
way
had
too
to
much.
do it. We totally had to do it. Yes,
Yeah.
you can help us out there, or you can go down to the bottom of the page where there's a PayPal link. We can make a monetary contribution to help us keep the lights on. And also, I will be having a couple of correspondents in different areas when things pop off. So that's all of that, or at least most of that, will probably be going to there. Some will be going to help, help people here that have been helping me out for a long time. But yes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. RiseOfMiddleAmerica.com. All right, Biddy, take it away.
Yeah, so, all right, you guys, coming to you from ABC News. Suspect in deadly Idaho ambush previously wanted to be a firefighter, according to a sheriff. The gunman suspected of fatally ambushing firefighters responding to a blaze in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho on Sunday has been identified, according to law enforcement officials. Wes Raleigh is his name, who was found dead after hours-long multi-agency manhunt in the area. He has been identified as the shooter. Multiple senior law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation told ABC News responding SWAT team members located a deceased male on Canfield Mountain with a shotgun nearby, the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office said. It appears he shot himself, according to Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris. There is no indication of motive at this time in the attack that killed 2 firefighters and injured a third, Norris said at a brief press conference Monday afternoon. Investigators learned that at one point the 20-year-old suspect wanted to be a firefighter. We don't know if there's a nexus to that desire and what happened yesterday. So that was Sheriff Bob Norris of Kootenai County, Idaho. And he was the one that spoke at the press briefing today. The suspect identified as 20-year-old Wes Val Raleigh. They said that he had prior residencies in California, Arizona, and Idaho. They believe he was born in California. That's the information they have as of right now. They said that this gentleman had 5 interactions with the police department in the past, stating they were minor in nature, like trespassing. And in those instances, he was asked to leave and complied. There was some welfare checks on him, like restaurants where he was parked for long periods of time in his car. No criminal history. They believe that he might have been actually living in his vehicle. There was some social media presence, nothing significant reported as of yet. Some photos that they haven't released as of yet that they found that were taken down. But there was no manifesto found as well. The suspect vehicle is still in an embankment of the mountain. Deputies who responded to the scene, they thought it best to push it over the side so that way if the suspect was still around, he couldn't slink down the mountain and flee. So they pushed it over. So it's they have not been able to find, to go through it and take an inventory of the vehicle as of yet, because it's still in that mountain. As far as the fire that they believe Raleigh started, he was found in possession of a flint starter, which they believe was the method used to start the fire. Currently, the fire is at 26 acres, has not grown. Idaho Department of Lands is putting a lot of water on it from aerial supports. I believe they will have a fire line around by dark tonight, which is basically creating a control line or barrier,
Right.
usually like vegetation, digging a trench to stop the spread of the wildfire. He did debunk 2 claims that were being made. Said there was an individual who jumped from Veterans Bridge. They have ruled that as being connected in any way in this. They also said Sheriff Norris said that he didn't find any connection to Islamic Jihad, which he said was something that was circulating on social media. And then he just added also that the difficulty of containing and addressing fires on a mountain versus city blocks or a street or something like that. So that's why it takes a bit longer.
Right. And the one thing that was kind of confusing to me was when they were talking about how they found a shotgun in the vicinity, right? This whole situation smells of some malarkey.
It does, right? Because if the guy's
does.
living in his car, how does he have? They say they found the shotgun, right? I mean, I'm just kind of like, how do you even get a weapon.
I mean, in Idaho, I mean, they're very, very like pro 2A. So he could have probably found it. He probably could have, stolen it or whatnot. But either way, like people don't go after firefighters for no reason. People don't go after firefighters at all.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time that's ever happened. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
No. I was just going to say my father, he's a retired FDNY, and he told me stories of when he used to work in Brooklyn. And during the time where Ed Koch was in office, they did like kind of like they made an announcement basically that if you lose your belongings in a fire, you would get like 1,000 or 2,000, I can't remember which one it was, to reimburse you for your loss. So people in these impoverished areas were intentionally setting fires to their own places. And the firefighters that were trying to put the fires out, they would be met with violence from people around that wanted the fires to continue. Mm-hmm. So, there's stuff like that in the history, but something like this, it's like a mixture of somebody who obviously had some terrible mental health issues, probably living in his car. They said that he wanted to be a firefighter, that there was some talk about that. Maybe he had some like ill will towards them, and he was like, he got to the point where he was, he lashed out. I don't know. But
I mean, he was 20 years old.
Right? He was 20 years old. So like, yeah. Like so how much life could you have lived that you were so jaded and felt like there was no other way out?
Exactly. And on top of that, do you know how much of a shortage of firefighters that we have across this entire country? You could screw up 3 different precincts, go somewhere else and get a job just like that. You literally could. I mean, there's volunteer firefighter departments that, I mean, their requirements are very low. Well, I mean, obviously you have to be able to carry heavy weight. You have to be able to do certain things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when I looked at the picture, there's no way he was going to be able to do what I thought he was going to do. I mean, I could barely do that. I did this with my son during the Boy Scouts a couple of years ago, where I put on all the equipment and started walking around and started getting a cramp in my hamstring because of how heavy everything was.
Yeah.
And I mean, so even for a guy like me who's somewhat fit, but and has a little bit of mass on him, I mean, I kudos to those guys, and especially the ones that are voluntary, because they're not getting paid for that. So, they have already hard enough time as it is, just trying to stay open, nonetheless, trying to get paid. So I don't know why that would be the direction that he would want to go. And then this would be the outcome that in a situation like this, for something that, 1, he probably wasn't fit to do, and 2, didn't really have a high ceiling.
Yeah, and also you have until you're 35 years old to sign up for firefighter. So he had another 15 years that he could have, worked his way into that. But there, when you said that there was, there's something fishy about this, there was a report. They say that at the moment they have a shotgun that was used. People on the scene, however, reported they believe they were taking sniper fire. But he said that there's a lot of dynamics when you're in that kind of like rural area, I guess, with like echoes and different things like that. Stuff, yeah. Yeah, so maybe people were mistaken, but they did say that he shot himself, and that they had found a shotgun nearby. So I don't know.
I heard sniper fire.
Right. That was like the reports from people on the ground.
Whizzing by, and I'm like,
that's not a shotgun. Yeah, or it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, like a high-powered rifle, but you know the news.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to try. They tried their best to come up with a way to be like, oh, somebody with another rifle doing something again. We're gonna have to look into this again.
Oh yeah, the reporters were digging in with those questions about what kind of a weapon he had, if he was up on that mountain, compiling other weapons, like how many there were, and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's really sad. And as Sheriff Norris said, there everything is still under investigation. Like they said, that vehicle that was allegedly his was tipped over into and like I guess like in a crack, like in a part of the mountain. So that way he wouldn't have fled in it. That was like their initial instinct, I guess. So they have to recover that and do inventory of his car. Maybe they'll find a manifesto in there. We don't know. They haven't found that yet to really establish like what his motives possibly were. And there were 2 firefighters that were killed and one that was injured that is still being treated. So
well, I heard that he was in extremely critical condition. He just got out of surgery and now he's up to stable condition.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, so that's good. And it makes you wonder, especially with a thankless job like a firefighter. We already know the issues that they're having now. What does this do to the psyche of other firefighters across the country? That put their lives in danger every single day just to make sure that everybody else is safe.
Right. And they're not, millionaires. They don't get paid 6 figures, You don't really get like top money until you get into captain or chief status. So, they get paid like just like, police officers do, just like, like they don't really make a ton of money. So it takes like a different type of person to go into that field. So discouraging others from, it's really sad. But there is on this article, actually, AK, there is a photo that they took down off of his social media, one that they thought might be something that they can look into and analyze further. And it basically just shows an image with kind of like a mask on and bullets around his waist. And so there might have been some, pointers to look at that. Yeah, this one right here, where it's like, this guy is kind of going down a really destructive and toxic path.
Yeah, he even has shotgun shells around his waist, so it's clear that. So I mean, that alone.
That was his weapon of choice.
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, it's a sad day. I feel for those firefighters that lost their lives, and I'm glad that they got that fire underway. But I mean, this is definitely something that I think the federal government needs to get involved with to figure out what's going on, because, again, you can't stop every shooter. You just can't. You're going to have, when you live in a free society, you're going to have bad apples.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But in order to have a free society, you have to be able to defend yourself. So, taking them away is not going to be the answer, because we've already seen that in other countries and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Right? It's like, and what's the answer? Is like, are they going to have some law enforcement security to go with every firefighter to every situation to make sure that they're not attacked? I mean, how feasible is that? I mean, usually it's just like nobody would ever think of attacking a firefighter because they're like the heroes. They're like the real life superheroes of our society. So it's like nobody would ever. It's like you would never think that anybody would target them.
Right. They're like the astronauts of the ground.
Right. Right. Like you see them coming into the supermarket. Like you're in the supermarket and they go in there to like gather up, and they just like you just look at them. You're like, even though like even if you're hefty like me, you're like, I know you could just throw me right over your shoulder, can't you?
Yeah. Trust me, I there are times where I see them in like the supermarkets, or they're getting food and I want to pay for them, and my bank account is like, whoa there, buddy.
Take it. Your wallet's like.
Yeah, but at some point this summer, I think that's going to be my one good deed for the summer. I'm going to find if I'm in a restaurant or fast food joint or somewhere and I see one of them, I'm just going to beep. Mm-hmm. Just get them going.
Yeah, or you can even like get them some food and like just drop it off at the firehouse. Usually they assign somebody for the day who's going to be the chef and who's going to cook all the meals and stuff. So
absolutely, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a fireplace or a fire station right down the road here, almost in walking distance. So I one of these days just pick up a couple of subs or something and drop them off and get these guys, you know.
Yeah, so they could just eat.
Yeah,
And probably one of them would be like, "Don't think like you're off the hook, Scotty. You're cooking tomorrow." Like,
exactly. You better be here at 12 sharp.
right?
All right. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to this is from CNN. Oh, it's another. Well, no, that was ABC we did last, right?
Yeah.
So, what's with the big, beautiful bill?
Oh my gosh.
All right. I'll take this one. Marathon voting session underway in Senate on Trump's big, beautiful bill. A marathon voting session on President Donald Trump's sweeping domestic policy bill is underway in the Senate after a weekend of negotiations and delays. As Senate Majority Leader John Thune went to the floor Monday morning, he told reporters that hopefully we'll know something soon enough. If Republicans have the votes to pass the bill, this may take a little while, he noted. There we go. The vote-a-rama, an open-ended, hours-long series of votes on amendments with some political and some substantive, provides an opportunity for Republicans to make an 11th hour adjustments to the package and the Democrats to push on the GOP weak points in the bill and put their colleagues on the spot. Those politically tough votes are likely to provide fodder for campaign ads down the line, which they will. Trump's multi-trillion-dollar bill would lower federal taxes and infuse more money into the Pentagon and border security agencies, which they should have, which downsizing the government safety net programs, including Medicaid. Democrats have zeroed in on Medicaid and other safety net programs such as food stamps as they message against the president's agenda. Monday exercise of stamina comes after Senate Democrats employed a major delay tactic over the weekend that forced clerks to spend more than a dozen hours reading aloud the entire bill. Now, let's start up here at the, let's see, right down the line. Okay, so bill would lower federal taxes and infuse more money into the Pentagon and border security agencies. Border security agencies, yes. Pentagon, Pentagon has not been very nice with money over the last 20 years.
They still, to this moment, haven't passed an audit since they were forced to do so like 7 years ago.
Exactly, they haven't, and I'm not even convinced, even the slightest, that they would pass one right now. Right?
I know.
So if it comes to the Pentagon, like, what is it for? I want to know exactly what it's for.
Yeah. I mean, I've said for a while now, like, you know, why aren't we getting like statements? You know, they push all these narratives like, oh, well, if we tell you these things or whatever, it's national security. You know, so they're not going to be like, I understand, like, you're not going to say, okay, we spent, you know, $500 million on a fleet of these super secret, you know, new planes or, you know, bombers or anything that the world doesn't know that we have, and we don't want them to know that we have. You know, I get the kind of nuances of all of that. So like everything can't be extremely transparent, but there has to be something. Like you have to tell us something, you know, some kind of like, you know, what security, like if the security that you're giving is as secure as it's supposed to be, then certain things you should be able to say, you know, like how Trump is saying, like he wants to fund, you know, the Golden Dome and things like that. Obviously the whole entire world knows that we want to build that. So
yeah, exactly. Now, on top of that, okay, so we'll do the Golden Dome. So obviously there's a lot of countries out there that want us mixed off the map, right? But there's no way, like, we are isolated on the other side of the world. So in order for that to happen, they would have to get us from within, you know, which is really important about the border when they're talking about the border security agencies, right?
Yes.
Because we're about a quarter of what we need to clean up the mess that's happened over the last couple of years.
Yep.
You know, and we are stretched thin, and you're wondering why things are moving so slow because there's so much money going. You know how much overtime these guys are getting right now?
They deserve it.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, you know, like if I was able-bodied, I'd be there with them. But like, you know, I'm definitely not. I could barely walk up and down the stairs without almost dying. But
Dude, me
like
neither.
these
That's what
these
I do for work.
guys, these gals out here, that oh my gosh, the stuff that they do, the things that they have to see. If my tax dollars are paying for their salaries and giving them, you know, some extra money, and so that way they can, you know, when they have their time off, they can relax and, you know, decompress and deal with life, and, you know, go home to a nice home, you know, when they, you know, to remind them of what they're fighting for. Hell, take my freaking money. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this bill that, you know, people are really, really upset about. There, you know, there was, you know, talks of, you know, taking a lot of like illegal immigrants off of Medicaid and our healthcare benefit systems. And you know, that's something that they're dealing with the parliamentarian who's, you know, making it so that way, you know, you have to have 60 votes, and you know, taking out things. There was a couple of things that were struck. So Medicaid provisions on June 26, 27, McDonough, that's Elizabeth McDonough, that's the parliamentarian of the Senate, ruled that several Medicaid related reforms like provider tax limits, stricter eligibility rules, and bans on certain funding, including for gender affirming care, violated the Byrd Rule, which bars non-budget policy changes in reconciliation bills. These provisions now require a 60 votes and were effectively removed for the reconciliation vehicle.
The Byrd Rule. What is this? The NBA?
Right.
Like,
right.
You know, I think the issue here is should all of America be paying for this? Right.
Right.
You know, and that's what it comes down to. It's not about whether the care should exist. It's should everybody be forking out money to pay for yours, when the vast majority, and I'm talking like 98%, would never even be a part of, would never even have that type of surgery.
Right.
Well, and I think that's a very important point. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. So like, okay, so with the sanctuary state stuff, right? They're already putting all of us in danger by having that status, because people, all they think about is like, all we need to do is somehow sneak in, get to one of these places, and then we'll be good. So we're already having to deal with that as a nation, because they're coming through our, you know, other states. You know, they get their sanctuary status, they're chilling for a minute, and then they move around the country. So we already have to deal with the repercussions of the decisions of only a few states. But then you add on something like this, where they're giving, like, you know, people come in here, they get emergency Medicaid. They go right to the emergency rooms and they get put right on it. A lot of people are like, how are they getting Medicaid? I don't get it. This is how. It's like, you know, you can't deny anybody care, right? When you go into these emergency rooms. So they put them right on emergency Medicaid if they qualify. And of course they do, because they're not working. They, you know, they don't have anything like that. So, and then the rest of the country has to foot the bill for your decisions and the things that you're doing, you know, and just kind of bleeding this program dry. It's not fair. You know, I sound like a toddler, but it's like, it's not fair. And I'm in a sanctuary city, you know, but I don't think it's fair for everybody else.
Me too.
You know?
And not only that, but when you're talking about the safety net programs, what about the people that have, you know, they're talking about food stamps, right? I can't even tell you how many people I know that completely abuse this system. All right. So let me give you an example. My mother was a single mother with 4 kids, right? So she couldn't work, you know, 50, 60, 70 hours a week to take care of us, because she could only work during certain periods of time, right? She could only work from, let's say, after we go to school to when we came home. So when I was like 8, 9 years old, I had to walk home by myself and go home by myself, so that she could, you know, she could work as many hours as possible. Right. So, you know, in a situation like that, obviously we can understand, But then there are people that are purposefully, having kids, not working, getting these welfare checks, getting, and just sucking everything dry. So what happens when you add them on top of that? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. And there's people that go through it like generational. Like I remember
Mm-hmm.
growing up, and one of my good friends, her family was on, Medicaid, welfare, all that other kind of stuff. And then, she got pregnant at a young age and, she's like, no worries, I'll just go on welfare or Medicaid, and it becomes like a cycle. Like, it's just like that. It's supposed to be a safety net for people like when they're down on their luck or they have, they're not able to find a job or something like that, so that way you have some means to survive. But
Mm-hmm.
people are using it as like a lifelong way of making money. And then of course you have the people out there that they, maybe are doing some illegal activities, making some money on the street, but then they're
Yep.
also doing so they're walking around with Louis Vuitton bags, but they're on
Yep.
Medicaid and welfare, and
Mm-hmm.
that has been a huge thing that has gone on for years. I think that there is something. I mean, when you talk about illegals, I don't think that they should have any access to any of our benefits. I really don't. They shouldn't be here in the first place. But, when you talk about like, able-bodied people and stuff like that, I do think that it becomes like an addiction. And, maybe some people get pissed at me for saying this, but I think that there has to be some kind of step out program. There has to be something
Right.
that's put in place that's going to get people out of it, because I
Or
don't
a
think it's
tier system.
realistic. Yeah,
Or a
like
tier system.
right.
Yeah. To where like you like there's certain things you have to check off, right?
Mhm.
And in order to check those things off, you have to prove that certain things have either happened to you or like, not just, oh, well, I have, 4 kids and 4 baby daddies. Sorry, women. I'm not just picking on you, but that
Oh.
a majority of the people that are on these are that are American are women.
Mhm.
So like instead of trying to give them a safety net, how do you get them in a position to where, hey, instead of you spending this much or us giving you this much of these entitlement programs, if you only need this much, what we'll do is we'll take the rest and we'll put it towards your schooling to go do something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And now instead of entitlement programs, now it's educational programs.
Yeah.
And how do
And
we
like
help you
unemployment
bolster your life?
offices that are more of those, like that you can
Mhm.
that you have to check in once a week or once a day even. I mean, I know that's a lot to ask, but like once every
Yeah.
few days you have to check in, see when there's new jobs posted, go on interviews, you have to show that you're doing this.
Mhm.
I think they actually, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't look it up, but I remember the story from J.K. Rowling, because she was in some kind of safety net in the UK and she was like cut off of it after like 2 years. Like she wasn't allowed to stay on longer than that. And I think that she, and that's when she started writing, the books and everything. And then of course became, a billionaire. But
Mhm.
but she had to show that she was trying to get a job. And I think it was really hard for her because there weren't like really a lot of ways to find jobs and stuff like
Right.
that. So that's what I think. Like you can have like the strict policy, but you also have to be realistic.
Or
And
instead
say,
of giving them money, what you do is, let's say like a company like Walmart,
Mhm.
right? So what you do is you say, all right, well, Walmart, let's say one particular store needs more workers, but can't, not that they can't afford them, but they're in this like limbo where it's like, okay, we're labor costs, all this other stuff. Well, instead of giving them, $3,000 a month, why don't you say, all right, well, here's the deal. You go work for Walmart. Not only can you work the hours that you want to work or the hours you need to work, but we will subsidize half of that from Walmart so that they now have extra people to help them out.
Mhm.
And at the same time, we're not spending as much on our end. And now everybody wins on all 3 sides.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to put a cap on that. You have to say, okay, after a certain period of time, we're going to reevaluate. But yeah, because that's what happens is like a lot of people have to stay below the poverty line in order to keep getting their full benefits. It's like all or nothing. So as soon as you start like you get a little job or whatever, but you don't have a savings because you've been on welfare, whatever, you can get kicked off of Medicaid, you can get kicked off of welfare and like all of this entirely. So I really think that's insane.
Yeah, well, there also, I think, needs to be a leniency period.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, now you just cut right off. Where it's like, okay, you're cut off, but you're good for the next 6 to 8 months, or like give a time period where it weans off.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then if you go back under that, then you're going to have to provide reasons why.
Yes.
And if you don't, then then we can look at like other issues, or different punishments for stuff like that, because we know if you're
not going to play that game.
Yeah, we're not playing that game, but we're going to give you time to figure it out.
Yes, I agree. And also with people that have come out of being incarcerated, I think there also needs to be a better plan of getting them back into the workforce, because what do you expect?
I've actually thought about that. I've thought about like getting some business partners together. This was like 10 years ago. Business partners together and having a halfway house with with garages downtown in the business, and then the halfway house is you come in. If you want a bed here, you have to work here, and you have to do certain trade, and learn different trades, or you work here for the garage for a year, and we'll pay you a stipend as halfway. And then at that same time, you also have to show that you're trying to better yourself. And then after that year, if you don't, then you're out.
Right.
But if you are actually trying to apply yourself, we will work with you to get you where you want to go.
Yes.
And at the same time, you're working at this garage. So you're working as a teller, you're working to clean it, you're working to make sure that you're getting people, where they need to be. That kind of stuff. And it's kind of like a win-win situation. It's just that when you go to these big cities and they get subsidized all this money to like, say, for like the homeless program, right? What happens if you fix everything? The money goes away. They don't want that money to go away.
Right.
So what do? They sit there, they collect their big checks, and then they're like, oh, well, I went out and talked with a couple of people once this month.
Yeah, like I feel like it's like we definitely need, it be fairly funded, this kind of program, but not in a way where it goes to the local politicians. I feel like it should be something where you can apply for a loan to start something like this, like what you were saying. So that way the everyday Americans, the people who aren't as corruptible as the politicians, will take that money, and you can at least follow them too and see this particular individual, what they are doing with that money. And it doesn't just go into a kitty and then all of a sudden you're like, well, how come nothing's been built? How come nothing's happened? Like, what's the progress on this? We gave you hundreds of millions of dollars and you didn't do anything with it.
No, right. So we've got Funk Master General, who just gave us our very first super chat we've ever gotten on YouTube. Yes.
And with a bomb name too. Funk Master General.
General.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So he said, hey guys, last time I was able to catch a stream, you didn't have super chats. Here's a YouTube approved cut of $20 to celebrate.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate that.
Hit me up. Hit me up sometime. I'm going to do something for. I'm going to send you any shirt from Rise of Middle America. Go all the way down to the bottom of the page, and then click on the shirts. Send me a photo, snapshot, whatever it is. I'm going to send it straight to you.
Aw, that's awesome.
Right? I'm going to do that just for you, just for helping us out.
Wait on the caption this photo one.
Yes, wait on that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love that. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. You guys are
awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. We completely, we spent 40 minutes on 2 articles. We got, 3 more to go?
Yeah. You know what? It's okay. We can, if anything, like we can
kind of fly through these.
Yeah. That's
all
true.
Right. So now, how to lose your U.S. visa, Trump edition.
All right. So,
Go ahead and take this.
CNN World, Bob Vieland's Israeli military chant prompts U.S. I'm going to actually read it from here. Sorry. Visa cancellation and UK criminal probe. Members of the British rap punk duo Bob Vieland. Wasn't Bob Vieland like an actor or a TV show guy? Like the name sounds familiar. I should have looked it up. But anyway,
that name is familiar because I feel like I've heard of him somewhere. But he's now he was supposed to be doing. I'm gonna let you finish the story, and I'll finish.
Yeah. Okay, so they had their visas revoked by the United States and are under investigation by local police after leading a crowd to chant "Death to Israel's military" at a UK music festival this past weekend. On Monday, U.S. Department Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau said that the State Department, quote, has revoked the U.S. visas for the members of the Bob Vieland band in light of their hateful tirade at Glastonbury, including leading the crowd in death chants. And as we know, by the way, you guys, we're going to be dropping the next episode on the music industry for Facts and Sass right after the show at 10:30 p.m. tonight.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about the influence of music. When you think about like School of Rock and all this other kind of stuff, like how they use that for people to be able to remember things and for it to be like implemented into their brain, it's mental manipulation. So if you're in like a huge area like that with a whole bunch of people jumping and chanting the same thing over and over again, and you're watching somebody that you look up to saying these terrible things, you probably going to adopt it. So we can't just be having these people out here like saying this hateful stuff. And like hate speech, you could say hate speech when you're talking about certain groups, but when you're talking about like death to Israel's military, that's not hate speech. Like it all is. You can't just be calling that on a public platform.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially if you're not from here.
Exactly. You're on a probationary period to begin with. You're on a visa. Could you privilege.
When Queen Elizabeth was alive and I went to England and the first things that came out of my mouth was "Death to the Queen." Like,
oh yeah, somebody would come out of nowhere like a football player and like shove you to the ground.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, man, I wouldn't get out of that place alive. I mean, yeah, they talk about their queen that way, but it's like it's their queen.
Right.
Right? You can't come in here talking about stuff like that, especially about Donald Trump, regardless of what side you're on. Like that's one of those things that will get you in the hospital.
Yeah,
but
and they use our laws and our freedoms against us. They come over here and they say, oh well, they have free speech, so you can say any old damn thing you want. But there are limitations to it, and we're not going to have you as a visitor, as somebody who's basically putting in an application to come and live here. Say some shit about people that are our allies or anybody at all. Like, you're not going to be standing up there calling death to like actual people. Like, you want to call death to the Death Star, be my guest, in Star Wars, that's fine with me, but we're not going to have you up there calling death to actual human beings on our watch. And you think like it's all gravy and you're just going to chill here and make money off of our country. No.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in this time, where we've already had 2 assassination attempts on our president. We've already had all the issues with like what's going on in Idaho, and what happened in Colorado, and what happened in California, and there's just
North Carolina.
Like that's a very touchy subject over here.
Yeah. we have to have some kind of like heightened sense at this moment, unfortunately, because of the years and years of having an open border and just any old person just randomly coming in, and people that are on the screen just outright, pushing for this division and this hatred towards America and our allies and stuff like that. Like, we have to stop this. It can't keep going on.
All right. So now, going from concerts to Pride Month, Let's see what's going on over here.
Violence in Greenwich Village after yesterday's Pride March in New York City. A 17-year-old who traveled into the city to celebrate Pride was caught in the crossfire between two groups of teenagers. It happened not far from the Stonewall Inn. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim is at police headquarters in Lower Manhattan with the very latest on the investigation. Stefan.
Well, Liz, cops say this was a fight between two rival groups of teenagers who knew each other. 3 teenage girls in all were either stabbed or shot. And that suspect who shot an innocent bystander, she was shot in her head by accident by her male accomplice. This is video taken by a witness at the scene last night around 10:15. You can see a large number of teenagers involved in some sort of melee. Police say what you're looking at is about a dozen teenagers from Brooklyn, mixed in with a larger group of people celebrating Pride. Investigators say video shows out of these two smaller rival groups, a 16-year-old girl emerges. She's determined to get to a specific man. She weaves through the crowd, pulls a 9mm pistol, and then within inches from his head, she fires off 2 shots, somehow misses him, and instead strikes a 17-year-old girl in her left thigh. That innocent bystander. She's in stable condition, by the way. The shooter then flees with her original group of friends. A male in her group then turns and fires into the crowd as he's running, fires 4 shots, but instead hits the 16-year-old in her head from about 10 feet away. And then there's an additional 17-year-old who showed up at the hospital with a punctured lung from being stabbed. Cops say video shows she was with the shooter group at the scene. She is not cooperating with the investigation. Let's take a listen to the chief of detectives explain how that innocent bystander was shot.
This female then produces a 9mm pistol, places it inches away from that male's head, and pulls the trigger 2 times. By some miracle, this male is not shot. However, those rounds travel down range and strike our 17-year-old victim in her left thigh. That bullet travels through her left thigh and lodges in her right thigh. This victim is a female, 17 years old, visiting from New Jersey. She had no connection to the shooter, and she had no connection to the previous fight that was taking place.
Jeez.
So what about gun laws? New York?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's that's the thing. Like they I know I always like bring this up whenever there's like some type of shooting or whatnot. It's like
in a gun-free zone.
In a gun-free zone. It's like, did your signs prevent this?
Exactly.
No, I didn't think so. All right, moving on. So I mean, obviously this is sad because there's a bunch of teenagers out, but this is late at night. What are they doing out there?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, this is kind of like, you know, the beginning of like the summer where everything starts to get really hairy, especially in New York. And you're gonna have a lot of these young teens hanging out all hours of the night. It gets me so scared too, because I mean, we had danger when I was young. Will not say how long ago that was, but when I was young, we had danger.
Were young,
yeah, right, many moons ago. But it wasn't like this where people would just like, unless you went into like a really, really messed up area, then you probably have to worry about like stray bullets and stuff like that. But this is happening everywhere now. This is like Greenwich Village in Manhattan. Like this is like the spot where people go to like hang out and like go to bars and stuff like that. This isn't like, you know, the hood or anything where, you know, you would normally have to worry about stuff like this. This, you know, this is just happening everywhere now. And it's really, really scary. If I was a mother of a teenage kid, like, I don't even know I would let them go out, period, these days. It's so scary.
Yeah, I'm going to shackle my kids to the bed. So just kidding. I'm just kidding, CPS. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Somebody's going to come back to this video and say, "You said," but but that's sort of what happens here in Baltimore, right? But what's more scary is that there's a lot of these kids riding around on like dirt bikes and 4-wheelers with like skull masks on and just like kicking cars, and I mean, and it's not like one of them; it's like 50 of them.
Yeah,
all riding around with no license plate, no nothing. And the thing is, the police don't do anything about it because what are you going to do? Arrest all 50 of them?
Mm-hmm.
The moment you chase them, they're going to go off road through alleyways and then just going to disperse.
Oh,
and then what? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, you were one of them. It's like, okay, well, prove it.
Yeah, and you know, like it's a lot of the cops are not from the areas that these kids are living in too. So like, you wouldn't look at him and be like, Scott, is that you? I see you. Right. I know that's you. Like, you know, like it's a totally different dynamic. So you're gonna have like kids, you're not even gonna know who they are, you know, if they're rolling with a gang or whatever, if they just like saw a bunch of kids running, you know, biking or whatever, and they decided to bike alongside them or whatever. But so it's probably hard for cops to like notice this, but there's gotta be some. I really think, I mean, you know, you can have all the police force that you want, but you know, in lieu of like, you know, totally shutting down our entire world and you know, keeping all of our kids in a bubble, we have to change the culture. We have to do something where we're instilling you know, old school values in these kids again. We have to stop them from getting to this point where they stop listening to the parents. You know, a lot of them come from things where they don't have both parents. You know, a lot of them, they have like, you know, mothers that are raising them, or just a father, or they have like absentee parents that like aren't really taking care of them. You know, some of them come from, you know, great upbringings, but they just want to be part of the cool. Yeah, they just want to be part of the cool kids. And I think, you know, a lot of it stems from like this glorification of villains. This glorification of being like the bad guy. This, you know, like it's in our music, it's in our movies, it's in everything. It's like, you know, we have to stop like this whole culture of like, you're not cool unless you're breaking something, or unless you're standing up to somebody and starting a fight, or you know, it's all like this street cred stuff, and they're just going to continue. And what are we going to do? Just put all our kids in jail? Like, that's not, I mean, yeah, it's good for now to like get them off the streets and stop committing crimes, but like, what's the long run look like? What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not all of them. It's always like a few bad apples in the entire group, but obviously the entire group is encouraging that behavior. But they're like, I'm not the one that's going to be doing that, but go right ahead.
Right.
You know, that's what they do. Right. But anyways, we're up against it here, so I think it's time for Caption This. What do you think?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. I don't know where the bump is, so hopefully, let's see. Caption this. There it is.
Yeah.
See, I should have had that like up at the top, but it didn't. And you know, because I don't normally do sunset rants.
Yeah. I was like, wait, Brian, where are you? No, but yeah, I love that bump. It's great. Who made that bump, by the way? Do we? I'm gonna say, do we know? Like, you wouldn't know.
We got like 8 people that do bumps over here.
I know.
All right, so
I know it wasn't me. I didn't do that.
So make sure you join Rise of Middle America. If you want bumps, bring them over here.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So caption this. All right. So what we're gonna do is we have in our Discord, we have a caption this thread, right? So what you do is you go in and you make whatever kind of AI image that you can get, that you can think of, like the crazy, the wonky, the degenerate, whatever it is, right? And then you throw it into that dump. And what we do is every single day we choose one from that thread, and we bring it up for caption this. Now it's up to you guys in the audience to come up with the best caption available. All right. So
bring the funny, you guys. Bring the funny.
So Biddy, if you could pull up the when we get a chance, pull up the chat when needed. If you can you?
I don't know how to do that, but I could probably.
So what you do is you pop out the chat off on the side, and the three dots. It'll say pop out chat. Put it off to the side, and then that's what you can use. Just have it ready down below.
What? I learned something.
Hey!
But like, you know, this is like literally like what we do. Like we're a growing network, right? So it's like, you know, we're all learning from each other and like trying to figure stuff out. And like with people like you that are supporting us, like even just watching us every day. I mean, I love you guys, man. You're so awesome, and you really make this all worth it.
We need some good music for this too. Let's see. I'm gonna do this song. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna pull up the Let's see, where's the chat? Oh wow, we got a lot of people in the chat today. My goodness.
I see Doug. I see Tommy.
Yeah,
Rebel
we
with
do.
no yell. What up? What up?
Yep, and then this is the chat right here. So the one on the bottom right, that opening, that's how you get the chat over here and make our pictures much bigger.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. All right, so go ahead and pull that down for a second because it is time for Caption This. So you guys give us your best caption for this photo. Let's go.
Harry! It's Harry and the Hendersons. He's about to fix your whip.
Oh, man, you got to write it in the chat.
Sorry. Yeah,
All
sorry.
right, here we go.
All right.
Let's see, what am I going to put?
I'm trying to think. I like the music.
This is the background for Fafo Friday.
Oh, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to be like doing the air guitar. Oh, sweet. Oh, we got them coming in now. What?
Oh, we got a whole bunch of them coming in.
All right.
Let's see. Oh my goodness.
That's funny. All right, let's see what we got. So if I share my screen, it'll
Here, I'm
stop
gonna pull
sharing.
mine down, and then you share. Oh, yeah, go ahead and share yours. Just don't X out of it. Just minimize it down the bottom. There you go. All right. So what do we got here?
All right, mine is whack, but I put one in.
That ain't whack. Come on.
I said I bet you $100 I won't need to put your car on the lift to change your oil.
Yep. And then I said the DEI department hires Chewbacca for his Midas touch.
Yeah.
No, what else we got here? We got Wookiee Auto Repair from Rebel with No Yell.
I like that one.
Let's see. Tommy B322 says Bigfoot working his 9 to 5.
What a way to make a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of our producers, Vashnik, who actually has a show coming out very soon called The Fringe, which is a conspiracy theory show. He says, when you finally find the mechanic who's been hiding all in the woods with your missing 10mm sockets.
Oh, that's great.
That's great. Cryptid by night, mechanic by day. Ask about his Yeti oil change special.
Sweet. Hey, we got another $20 super chat from Funkmaster General.
Oh my goodness. You are amazing, dude.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was the same one, but then I remembered like what the words you said. Thank you so much. That is really, really sweet of you. Thank you.
Hey, Funkmaster General, go to riseofmiddleamerica.com, go to the upper right-hand corner and join the Discord and talk to us in here. And let me get your information, all right? I'm gonna send you something.
Yeah. Come
I'm
in
gonna
there and
send you
show.
something, bro. All right.
All right. So what do we
Oh
got?
man, we had some good ones.
I know, and we always do too. It's like really hard. We got any? Let me see. Is there any on anywhere else that I'm missing? Where am I? Oh, Southern FFA family says have a great show. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, FFA family. I know who that is. How you doing? Yeah. She, I've met her in a couple of X spaces out and about.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. All right, so what we got?
Oh, Vash, thank you for sharing the Discord link. You're awesome.
There we go.
Last guy who questioned the bill still on the missing persons report right next to his muffler.
Man, these are great.
Oh.
Let's see. So who do we want to go with? Because this is.
I don't know. I liked Rebel with No Yell, Wookiee Auto Repair. I thought that was adorable.
Yeah, that one was funny. It's the mechanic who's been hiding in the woods with your missing 10mm socket.
Yes.
That's definitely a dude joke. Because I still can't find mine. Let's see.
Now that I know how to do it, I'm like, I
Yeah,
just
just
keep
messing
going
around with it, right?
I can't help it. I'm excited now. I'm like, woo, look at me. Bigfoot working his 9 to 5 was funny too.
Man.
Yours was funny. I don't know. Damn.
I think I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna go with.
Wait, where did my? Oh, there you are.
Man, this one's tough.
I know.
This one's really, really tough.
Cryptid by night, mechanic by day. Ask about his Yeti oil change special. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna like rip the band-aid off because if not, I'm gonna be here all night thinking, like going back and forth. I'm just gonna do Wookiee Auto Repair. That's my vote.
Wookiee Auto Repair?
Yeah,
all
by
right.
Rebel with No Yell. I like that one.
All right, you know what? I like the 10mm socket one.
I know you. Yeah, I know you did.
All right, so here I'm gonna write it in the chat. So let's see. One is.
And of course, I don't have. Or we're gonna do the vote, right? Because I never have a quarter.
Here.
Okay.
Two.
I did find a website that does the quarter too, which I think I saved it somewhere, but God knows where that is now.
All right, so this is for everybody that's in the audience. All right, so I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you liked Wookiee Auto Repair, and I want you to put a 2 in the chat if you like when you finally find the mechanic who's been hiding in the woods with your missing 10mm socket.
All right, you guys.
All right, it's up to you in the audience.
Do your duty.
You got
vote.
60 seconds. Good luck.
Wait, where should I? I'm gonna put mine in there.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, we got 2 for. Well, we got 3 for 1. We got 2 for 2. We got another 2 in here. So how many do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we got 4 for 2 in the YouTube chat.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of those I did double. I did 1 and so subtract
1 in the okay.
1.
So 1, 2. So there's 3 for 2.
Oh, we got another 2. Oh man.
Oh
man, this is getting.
And then we get a T-Bone from T-Bone. Thanks. You're really being helpful.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And if you guys, we got the Fringe starting soon with Vash, but we also got the Drive-In with T-Bone and Sarah. So check that out because that's also another great show.
I think 2 took it.
I think so too.
I think it did.
Yep.
Yes, there it is. All right, so congratulations, Vash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Congratulations.
That was absolutely hilarious.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys always for for engaging and all of this. This is great. And as we always say, I mean, yeah, it helps the show, but like share the show with your friends. Let's get more people in here. Let's get more captions. engagement in the chat and everything. Like the more we engage, the more it grows, the better the episodes, the more access we'll have out there on the street, doing the investigative journalism and all that stuff. I mean, this is like, we're really trying to build something here. So we appreciate you guys a lot for all your support. And give us some more.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's riseofmiddleamerica.com. Right up here in the upper right-hand corner. That's all of our socials. Discord's on the right. You can help us out by going down to the show your support, the Roman Nation Network merch. That's where we have all of our merch there. Mm-hmm. We also got a PayPal at the bottom where you can make a monetary contribution to help us out so we can help spread the word. We're trying to be the largest podcast network on the internet. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Biddy, where can we find you?
You can find me on X at Elizabetty213A. That's me right there. And, I post some politics, some funny. I do a lot of, like, old school GIFs. That's, like, my shtick, it seems. So, give me a follow. I love to engage with all you guys, too, throughout the day. So, I'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And you can find me at TheRealRoma_AK. I also have a subscriber button down below, which I'm going to have some exclusive subscriber stuff on X coming up soon. So if you subscribe to me over the next month, going through the entire month of July, I'm going to be doing a raffle for some more Roman Nation merch. So
sweet.
Yes.
Hold on, let me sub.
Uh-oh. Hey, we're going. I only got one right now. It just opened. If they finally gave it to me. Yes. It was 2 days ago.
Yeah. 2
days ago after waiting for 19 months.
Yeah, that's wild.
19 months I had to wait for that. So.
Wait, what's the difference between subscriptions and subscriber? I guess it's like a Discord conversation question.
Well, yeah. Well, if you subscribe to somebody on a site like Rumble or YouTube, you're subscribing to them so that you get more of their content. If you subscribe to me on X, you subscribe for I think I'm at $4 a month, and what that does is that comes directly to me, and I'm able to use that to help out with all the other shows, with travels, with correspondence on the ground, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. All right,
it's
great.
gonna be nice. But anyways, Biddy, it's been a pleasure.
Always.
Absolutely. I think Valley.
Yeah.
Will be Viddy.
Yes.
Valley will be back on Wednesday, hopefully. And she is. Then you guys will have your regularly scheduled program. Outside of that, stick around because in about 20 minutes is going to be Facts and Sass with Biddy and Valley.
Yep. The puppet masters of Hollywood, you guys. We're diving into the music industry. It's the beginning of the series, so it's going to be a long one. This is the first part of it, but we are getting into all of it, just like we were talking about earlier in the show. So,
yeah, because the last time you guys were talking about what?
In this series we were talking about the movie industry.
Yeah, first it was the movie industry and how
and the grooming of kids
grooming of kids and TV shows, Nickelodeon, stuff like that. And now it's going to be the music industry.
Yeah, which is a lot bigger of a web, it seems. I mean, so we have a lot to talk about with that, a lot of different elements. So, but I won't spoil it. So watch the show 10:30 tonight. Right here, same time, same place.
Don't miss out. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching us tonight. Peace out.
Bye.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.